down at the pickup truck cafe.
And I love sitting and listening to the masters in our profession.
Boy, they're getting to be fewer, you know, and
we're
lost
losing more and more of those.
Yeah, lost Tyson over the holidays, and
oh man, and he was a big mentor of yours.
Oh man,
and friend.
Yeah, friend and mentor, and better to me than he had to be by any means. He just was so good to me and taught me so much. And I met a buddy of Bruce Ennis's there last night at the concert.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, from Spokane. I told him that I'd been in the studio with Ian Tyson and Bruce Ennis, when I was a young guy, and just cherish that. And I think one of the things that you think about Baxter and Don Edwards and Ian Tyson, those guys were good to us.
Oh, they were so good to us.
So good to us.
So good. And we have some that are still living that are so good to us.
Yeah, and knowing what I know about what this meant to them.
Yeah.
I think that's why I can be somewhat, to some degree, a little bit unapologetic about kind of sticking to my guns, as an artist.
Right.
And we talk about some of these events, even that just, maybe you think they could maybe just still kind of harken back to what those founders believed, and understand that it's the values, the underlying values of this way of life that that we have to keep alive.
Yeah.
Or I guess come hell or high water, I'm gonna keep alive in my art. And that might put me at odds with some of these organizations.
Yeah.
It might mean that I'm never gonna win an award.
Right.
It might mean that I never become rich and famous.
Yeah. So what's the downside to this?
Amen.
Right.
I tell you what, we lost the great Baxter Black this year.
Oh man.
Yeah. And I was a Baxter Black fan when I was just a young kid. It was kind of strange for a kid that age to like cowboy poets, but Baxter was
man.
Oh, he was something else. He was more than just a cowboy poet. He was sort of a cowboy icon.
One of a kind. Yeah, they broke the mold with Bax, I was telling Brenn just before the performance here that it's wonderful when your heroes become your mentors and then become your friends. It was outstanding. I had a great relationship with Baxter.
But I'll tell you what, I'm sure grateful that we got somebody like Andy Nelson to carry on the gauntlet of the storytelling of the West here in poetry. And you guys listen to Clear Out West Radio?
Anybody listen to Cow Radio? What are you people doing?
I'll tell you what.
For heaven's sakes. Get it on a podcast. Go to clearoutwest.com. My brother and I host a weekly cowboy radio show, and you can get it to come to your device every Monday morning.
Where did they get it here? They get it somewhere in the Heber Valley.
It used to be on KTMP, but I'm not sure that it is anymore. Yeah. So your best bet is...
You got to quit telling those jokes.
Yeah. Well, we do kind of walk the edge on that show, just falling over one way or the other. clearoutwest.com. Sign up for the podcast, and it'll come right to you.
Hey, we play at a Mule Days festival pretty much every spring, unless we've been canned, but that can happen. It's a good time. It's down in Tropic.
Where did Sam go? He must have knew we were going to invoke his name from the stage.
Well, he's looking at this other.
He left.
He's looking at this other band over here.
Yeah, that must be it. Well, okay, we're going to dedicate this to Sam anyway, whether he's here or not.
Come down to Tropic in the spring if you like mules, and even if you just want to sit on the sidelines and take part in it. It's a pretty cool deal. I wrote this song about a guy that's kind of a hero of mine, and he's a real deal, still old school backcountry outfitter, and he's still at it today. And you can go on a ride or a hunt or a high adventure fishing trip with Bob Barlow Outfitting. Check him out.
And of course, I recited this poem at the Mule Days, and you're going to see how popular that was.
Hey Barlow, would you rather be hunting bears and curled up in a cabin with a woman with long dark hair? Would you rather be sipping whiskey by the light of a crackling fire, waiting on whatever the morning brings? Hey Barlow, would you rather be setting camp than loving upon the light of a stained glass lamp? Would you rather be leading a pack string? Would you rather be alone up there with a pack string in your hand, crossing the high creeks in the spring? Sorry guys.
You got it.
The whole world's gone to hell, the cities and the towns. People are all hung up on whether their skin is white or brown, so you might as well disappear somewhere up in Wyoming. It's a hell of a place to ride, it's a heavenly place to be lonesome.
Ma'am, you're going to recognize these pictures. You already do. You did know, didn't you? That's right. It's hard to look cool riding a mule. Well, working your herd, you need the right tool. You're cutting a cow, not pulling a plow. It's hard to look cool riding a mule. It's hard to look cool shoeing a mule. You shod everything in horseshoeing school, but now you got pride and feelings to hide. It's hard to look cool shoeing a mule. It's hard to look cool training a mule. Donkey whispering don't work as a rule. But at least he hears with those great big ears. It's hard to look cool training a mule. It's hard to look cool roping on a mule. It just don't seem right unwinding your spool, roping some strays on something that brays. It's hard to look cool roping on a mule. It's hard to look cool catching a mule. You lose self-esteem while having a duel with a donk or two that's smarter than you. It's hard to look cool catching a mule. It's hard to look cool grooming a mule. Bobbing or belling a tail, that's just cruel. Shaved forelock and mane, that's utter disdain. It's hard to look cool grooming a mule. Hey Barlow, would you rather be out on the road on the Sage Highway to Jeffrey City, hauling one hell of a load, listening to your cowboy tunes while the wind and the diesel whines, looking forward to another fall? Hey Barlow, would you change if the woman was right? Would you take an office job in town and be home every night, mowing your lawn and weeding your pasture, thinking about the old wild times? Man, that just ain't you at all. 'Cause the whole world's gone to hell,
in the cities and the towns. And people are all hung up on whether skin is white or brown. So you might as well just disappear somewhere up in Wyoming. It's a hell of a place to ride. It's a heavenly place to be lonesome.
It's hard to look cool doctoring a mule, flushing a Jenny from atop your vet stool. All your equine vet friends guffaw as you cleanse. It's hard to look cool doctoring a mule. It's hard to look cool branding a mule. A smoking hot iron adds matchstick to fuel. You got to brand slicks, but just wait till he kicks. It's hard to look cool branding a mule. It's hard to look cool queening on a mule. All that big hair and tiara jewel is a really tough sell through a donkey yell. It's hard to look cool queening on a mule. It's hard to look cool courting from a mule. See, women despise a sterile gene pool. On top of a steed that can't even breed. It's hard to look cool courting from a mule. It's hard to look cool singing on a mule. In all them old westerns, you'd look like a fool. Just ask Brenn, Gene, or Roy, or any cowboy. It's hard to look cool singing on a mule. Now, it's hard to stay cool when owning a mule, but I have decided and agree that you'll never go back after riding a jack. And Sam really looks cool riding his mule.
Take your bay horse and a mule, your old brewing hunting food. Damn, you're cool. The whole world goes to hell, the cities and the towns. People get all hung up on whether skin is white or brown. You might as well just disappear somewhere up in Wyoming. It's a hell of a place to ride. It's a heavenly place to be lonesome. It's one hell of a place to ride. It's a heavenly place to be lonesome.